They will say never burn a bridge, that every alliance, no matter how tarnished, is a future asset. But they forget. Some bridges lead only to the wolves you once fed, to traitors you allowed to sleep near your fire. Some bridges were built to invade you, not to support you. To lead is to know when to sever the path, not merely to cross it. And when the moment comes, hesitation is treason to your own survival. A ruler does not plead for the loyalty of ghosts. He lights the wood and watches the past burn with a clear gaze, not in anger and calculation. Loyalty is a currency, easily forged. It's spent most lavishly by those who plot betrayal. Never mistake proximity for allegiance. Never mistake silence for peace. The knife always moves in the quiet. You must understand this, not in theory, but in your marrow. Trust is not a virtue in power. It is a liability. The prince who trusts too easily is already conquered. The friend who flatters too quickly is already digging tunnels beneath your fortress. Man desires security, but power exists in a permanent state of siege. You don't rule from the throne. You rule from the uncertainty beneath it. And those who sit closest to you are often the ones who whisper to your enemies. They study your habits, your weaknesses, your private disillusionments, not to share the burden, but to calculate when the poison will work best. That is the cost of command. You do not get to be loved and feared. You choose, and if you do not choose, they will choose for you, and you will be neither. Burning the bridge is not cruelty, it is strategy. Mercy has a half-life in politics. So does sentiment. The mistake is thinking you can outlast betrayal through benevolence. But what you forgive once, they will exploit again, and again, until your principles become your gallows. Do not let pity rule your hand. A leader can only afford one weakness, and it is never emotional. It is never nostalgia. The past is a tyrant that demands you wear the same mask, speak the same scripts, and leave the same doors open. But those doors were breached. Those masks broke. You owe nothing to those who betrayed your rise, only to those who defend it. This is the quiet truth no one teaches. Power does not forgive. It endures. It adapts. It refines itself through fire. Every betrayal is a message. Every failed alliance a lesson in anatomy, not of the state, but of the human beast that governs it. When you burn the bridge, you remove the illusion of return. You erase the possibility of their re-entry, and in that finality, you gain clarity. You force the world to choose with you or against you. Ambiguity is the refuge of cowards. A prince who allows doubt to linger invites insurgency. The edge must be visible, the consequence immediate. Understand this. People follow strength, not kindness. Even those who praise your softness privately resent it. They test it. And in their testing, you bleed quietly at first, then openly, until your command becomes ceremonial and your decisions merely symbolic. Control is not maintained through conversation. It is forged through fear, shaped through consistency, and enforced through consequence. You do not need to be cruel. You must only be certain. In the world of power, certainty is the most terrifying force. It signals that you will not waver, that you know what must be done and will do it. Let them fear the fire. Let them see that when the bridge burns, it stays burned. No rebuilding, no apologies, no return. Because the ones who betrayed you once, they always come back, not to kneel, but to finish the job. And if you leave the path open, they'll take it, with a smile, with a knife behind their back, and a speech about unity on their tongue. Do not wait to be betrayed twice. Once is instruction, twice is weakness, the third time is death. To rule is to decide who never gets to return. Power does not exist in stasis. It breathes, it shifts, it feeds on perception. You are not merely commanding soldiers or citizens, you are commanding the narrative of who you are. And every hesitation, every flicker of doubt, every open door to the past becomes a fissure in the walls you have built. The world does not forgive rulers who linger. It waits for them to hesitate, to question, to extend a hand where only a closed fist will suffice, and once you extend it, you teach your enemies the shape of your mercy. You show them where to strike. The prince who survives is not the one who clings to fairness as a shield. Fairness is a luxury afforded only to those without enemies. It has no place in the furnace of leadership, where every choice hardens into consequence. Do not believe that virtue alone will secure your rule. Men admire virtue, but they obey strength. They love the idea of a just leader, but in their hearts they fear the leader who is willing to act without flinching. It is not their love that keeps them in line. It is the knowledge that disobedience will be met with swift and certain reprisal. Even those closest to you, perhaps, especially those closest to you, are governed not by gratitude, but by calculation. The favors you have granted them, the power you have delegated, the trust you have extended, these are not anchors of loyalty. They are weapons they may turn against you when ambition whispers louder than gratitude. Man is fickle, and in the corridors of power, friendship is often nothing more than camouflage. A wise ruler sees this and adjusts his heart accordingly. You may drink with them, laugh with them, even pretend affection, but you must never, not for an instant, forget the stakes. This is the theater of power. Every gesture is observed, every word replayed, every alliance tested. The audience hungers for a weakness to devour. You must play your part to the end, never faltering, never granting them the satisfaction of a crack in your armor. The stage is merciless. Step wrong once, and the performance becomes your execution. That is why a leader must be more than human. He must master the art of appearing untouchable, even as he wages war within himself. Hesitation breeds rumors. Rumors breed rebellion. And rebellion, once lit, spreads like wildfire. To hesitate is to invite the fire into your own halls, so you strike first. You silence the murmurs before they rise to shouts. You burn the bridge before your enemies can march across it. In doing so, you create an island, and on that island, you control every grain of sand, every breath of wind. They cannot reach you unless you permit them, and you permit nothing. Remember this. Men are more loyal to fear than to love, because fear is constant. Love is fickle. It sways with fortune, with rumor, with the endless turning of public opinion. Fear, properly cultivated, does not sway. It roots itself in the stomach, and it makes men think twice before they act. The ruler who is feared may not be loved, but he is obeyed. And in power, obedience is worth more than affection. Do not make the mistake of believing you are above these laws. No leader is. The moment you forget them, you become prey. And the pack is always circling, waiting for you to grow tired, to grow sentimental, to grow weak. That is when they strike. They will not mourn you. They will not honor the favors you once granted. They will feast on your downfall, as carrion birds feast on a carcass. So you must ask yourself, in every moment, who can I afford to forgive? The answer is almost always no one. Mercy, if rare and calculated, strengthens authority. But let no man mistake it for weakness. Betrayal must meet such severity that others tremble at the thought. They see the smoke rising in the distance, and they understand the cost of treachery. It is not cruelty. It is governance. The truth is simple, though few dare to speak it. Power is maintained not by hope, not by justice, not by goodwill, but by the disciplined application of necessity. To rule is to do what must be done, not what ought to be done, to see the world not as it should be, but as it is, and act accordingly. Do not pity those who call you ruthless. They are spectators, not participants. They have never held power in their hands, never felt its weight, never known the isolation it demands. They will criticize the fire as barbaric, but secretly they respect it. Even as they condemn you, they fear you, and that fear is your truest ally. The bridge burns, the smoke curls into the sky, and you stand alone, as every ruler must. There is no path back for them, and there is no path back for you either. This is the nature of command. It is forward or nothing. To hesitate is to be devoured. To falter is to vanish. Better to stand at the center of carefully chosen alliances, holding their loyalty by fear and reward, than to be surrounded by false friends whose betrayal you failed to anticipate. Better to walk alone in certainty than to be accompanied by traitors cloaked in smiles. You do not owe them a second chance. You do not owe them peace. You owe only this: the preservation of your rule, the endurance of your vision, and the unflinching will to survive. And so, the lesson becomes clear. When the time comes, burn the bridge so they never come back. There is a moment every ruler dreads but must embrace. The moment when he realizes that no alliance, no friendship, no oath sworn under heaven is unbreakable. Men swear loyalty while the sun shines, but when the storm arrives, they scatter to higher ground, leaving you exposed on the battlefield. It is in that hour you learn the first truth of power: you stand alone. You were always alone. The throne is not a seat. It is a fortress of solitude carved from necessity, and solitude is not weakness. It is freedom from illusion. To rule is to see clearly that affection is a mask, gratitude, a fleeting spark, and loyalty, a word uttered to buy time. They love you only as long as they need you. They praise your vision only until they fear your strength. And when they no longer need you, when they sense even the smallest fracture in your resolve, they will turn. Some will turn quietly, slipping into the shadows, whispering your failures to your enemies. Others will turn boldly, their betrayal dressed in the language of morality, claiming they act for the greater good while carving out their share of your ruin. Do not waste time asking why. The answer is simple. Man is governed by hunger, hunger for security, hunger for recognition, hunger for power. You are not dealing with abstractions. You are dealing with beasts that wear the skin of reason. Understand their hunger, and you understand their actions. Feed it wisely, and they serve. Leave it unsatisfied, and they devour. You may think the strength of a leader lies in generosity, in magnanimity, in keeping faith with even those who have failed you. That is the fable they will whisper to you because it serves them. But consider this. When has generosity ever tamed ambition? When has forgiveness ever erased the memory of power left unguarded? A man you forgive today studies your mercy as a map of where you are weakest, where you hesitate, where he might strike tomorrow. This is why the bridge must burn. You must not only cut them off, you must make their return impossible. You must deny them even the hope of reconciliation. A man who has no hope of return will think carefully before he betrays you. He will know there is no place for him in your world once he crosses that line, and in that certainty lies your security. Power is not preserved by half measures. It does not respect hesitation. It demands clarity, and clarity often feels like cruelty to those too timid to rule. But there is no cruelty in survival. There is only necessity. You are not here to be loved. You are not here to play the saint. You are here to endure, to shape the future by force of will, to bend the world before it bends you. Consider the lion. He does not share his kill with jackals. He does not explain himself to the herd. He does not waste energy nursing the wounded back to strength, knowing they will only return one day as rivals. The lion survives because he acts without hesitation, without apology, without the illusions that cripple weaker creatures. So too must you. You will be told that fear is a dangerous tool, that it breeds hatred, that it invites revolt. This is true if fear is clumsy, if it is wielded like a hammer where a scalpel is required. But fear, when applied with precision, is not hatred. It is respect. It is the silent recognition in the hearts of those around you that disobedience carries a price too heavy to bear. Love fades with disappointment. Fear lingers with every heartbeat. Do not mistake this for cruelty. A cruel leader lashes out blindly, spilling blood where restraint would have sufficed. A wise leader disciplines sparingly, but when he strikes, it is decisive, final, unquestionable. One act of severity, applied at the right moment, can prevent 1,000 conspiracies. One bridge burned completely can illuminate all others with the warning, betrayal is not a game that can be played twice. And yet, there is another trap, subtler and more dangerous than mercy, vanity. The belief that you are immune to the forces that undo all rulers. The belief that your intelligence, your charm, your strength of will make you untouchable. History is littered with the corpses of princes who mistook admiration for safety. They forgot that admiration is a shadow that vanishes when the sun shifts. Only fear holds fast when the light fades. You must wake each day as if the throne beneath you is already crumbling. You must see every ally as a potential traitor, every smile as a disguise, every promise as a lever waiting to be pulled. Paranoia? No. Paranoia is fear without discipline. What you require is vigilance, a vigilance so cold and so constant that no deception, no scheme, no shifting allegiance can take root without your knowledge. They will call you ruthless. Let them. They will call you heartless. Let them. Better to be feared as ruthless than remembered as the fool who trusted too easily. Better to be alone and secure than surrounded and undone. The path forward is narrow, but it is clear. Sever the ties that bind you to the past. Burn the bridge so completely that even ash cannot be used to rebuild it. Let them curse you from the other side of the river. Let them plot and whisper in exile. You will not hear them over the roar of the fire you lit. And as the flames rise, understand this. There is no path back for them and no path back for you. This is the cost of command. You have chosen the solitude of power, and it has chosen you. You are no longer one of them. You are something else, something they will never forgive, but always obey. Burn the bridge. Leave them behind. Rule as if there is no retreat, because in truth, there never was. Every ruler carries within him a shadow, a part of himself, that others cannot touch, cannot tame, cannot even see unless he allows it. That shadow is not evil, it is not cruelty. It is the reservoir of his will, the part of him that knows what others refuse to know. That power is not given, it is taken. That order does not spring from harmony, but from the careful management of chaos. That in a world of shifting loyalties and hidden knives, hesitation is a luxury that belongs only to the dead. To rule is to understand masks. The face you show to the world is never the face you wear alone in the dark. The world demands warmth, confidence, vision. But beneath that mask lies the cold calculation of survival. The prince who confuses his mask for his true face is lost. He begins to believe his own illusions. He imagines that smiles mean loyalty, applause means safety, and that the theater of politics is anything but a contest of predators. When that happens, he is already half consumed by the wolves. Learn to see through the performance of others while perfecting your own. Let them believe what you wish them to believe. Let them think you are forgiving when you are watchful. Let them think you are generous when you are exacting. Let them think you are slow to anger when you are merely waiting for the right moment to strike. Power is a game of appearances, but the wise ruler never confuses appearance for substance. The subjects, the courtiers, the ministers, they are not unlike children in a great household. They must see the father's hand as firm, his justice as certain, his punishments as inescapable. If they begin to sense weakness, they will test the boundaries, first in whispers, then in defiance, then in open revolt. And by the time you move to discipline them, the infection has already spread. That is why you must strike early and strike cleanly, not in anger, but in necessity. Mercy is a fine thing in a private man. In a ruler, it is dangerous. Not because it is wrong, but because it invites expectation. Show mercy once, and they begin to believe it is their right. Deny it later, and they call you unjust. They turn on you not because you are harsher, but because you broke the illusion that you were soft. Better to let them believe from the beginning that the hand of power does not tremble, that punishment is not a matter of whim but of law, and that the law is unyielding. You will hear arguments that fear breeds resentment, that resentment breeds rebellion, and that therefore a ruler should rule through love. It is a comforting theory for those who have never held power. But resentment is inevitable no matter how you rule. The poor resent your wealth, the ambitious resent your station, the weak resent your strength. You cannot erase resentment. You can only choose whether it smolders in private or bursts into flames in public. Fear keeps the fire contained. And yet fear alone is not enough. To rule by terror alone is to balance on the edge of a blade. The people must fear your justice, but they must also see purpose in your rule. If they believe you act out of vanity or cruelty, their fear will become hatred, and hatred, once united, is the most dangerous force in politics. But if they believe your severity serves order, protects them from greater dangers, and preserves the state, their fear becomes respect. And respect, alloyed with fear, is the strongest foundation a ruler can build upon. You will have no peace. That is the price. A prince who seeks peace in his own heart has chosen the wrong life. He must sleep with one eye open, dine with one hand on the table, and the other near his blade. Even in moments of triumph, he must guard against complacency. Success breeds envy. Victory breeds plots. The higher you climb, the more you expose yourself to the winds of ambition. This is why you must never allow a rival to rise unchecked. Do not imagine you can manage them, co-opt them, or tame them with kindness. A rival is not a servant. He is a seed of your downfall, and every concession you grant him is water to that seed. If you cannot destroy him outright, isolate him. Strip away his allies, poison his reputation, leave him no room to breathe, and when the moment comes, act without hesitation. There is no virtue in sharing power. Power shared is power halved, and power halved is already lost. Even as you take these steps, you will be tempted by voices inner and outer, telling you to relent, to forgive, to extend your hand across the fire you set. Resist them. To reach back is to invite your own undoing. To extend mercy to the disloyal is to plant the seed of your own betrayal. Remember this always. Those you forgive remember their rebellion. They do not return to you in gratitude. They return in humiliation, waiting for their moment to reclaim what they lost. Do not give them that moment. Burn the bridge so thoroughly that not even the memory of passage remains. And in doing so, you transform yourself. You are no longer a man clinging to friendships and alliances. You are a sovereign, bound to no one but the imperatives of survival and rule. This is the hard truth. To lead is to bear the weight of solitude. There will be no equal to share your burden, no confidant to whom you can confess your fears. You must become the confidant of yourself, the judge of your own resolve, the architect of your own survival. Others may stand beside you for a time, but in the decisive hour, it is your will alone that determines whether the state endures or collapses. And so you walk forward, leaving behind the charred remains of what once tied you to lesser men. You do not look back. There is no path for them to follow. There is no path for you to retreat. There is only the road ahead, and the fire at your back, driving you onward. Because in the world of power, there is no homecoming, there is no sanctuary, there is only the throne or the grave. Burn the bridge. Let them curse your name. Let them call you tyrant, monster, betrayer. It does not matter. What matters is that you endure, that the state endures, that the fire you lit serves as a warning to all others who would test your strength. A prince does not survive by being loved. He survives by being necessary, and when the choice must be made, he survives by being feared. Burn the bridge. Burn it so completely that even you cannot find your way back, because power grants no second chances, and those who forget this lesson do not rule for long. Every day you remain in command, you buy time with vigilance, you barter peace from chaos with the weight of your decisions. Do not forget, the people do not see the machinery of power. They see only its surface, the polished mask you allow them. They do not care how many concessions you made in private to preserve stability. They do not care how many nights you spend calculating which ally to strengthen and which to sacrifice. They care only that order appears unbroken, that their lives are not upended, that the facade holds. And so you must learn to rule two realms at once, the real and the imagined. The real is the web of alliances, betrayals, and threats that tighten around you each day. The imagined is the world of appearances, the story you tell, the myth you weave, the face you wear. It is not enough to govern the real. If you fail to master the imagined, the people will turn against you even as you win battles they cannot see. Appearances matter more than truth, because men act on what they believe, not what they know. A prince may be wise, just, and far-sighted, but if he appears weak, indecisive, or frightened, he will be treated as such. Likewise, he may be ruthless, selfish, and cunning, but if he appears strong and unyielding, he will be obeyed. This is not injustice. This is human nature. You can either lament it or use it. Do not imagine that virtue in itself will preserve you. A ruler's virtue is not measured by his private morals, but by his public success. In private life, a man may choose to forgive. In public life, forgiveness is often interpreted as weakness. A ruler's hesitation to act against an enemy does not inspire gratitude. It invites contempt. Better to be decisive and feared than merciful and undone. Understand this too. The crowd does not think as individuals do. In groups, men become creatures of emotion, not reason. Fear moves them more quickly than hope. Anger binds them together more tightly than gratitude. They do not study causes. They react to symbols, to gestures, to strength or its absence. If you appear in control, they believe you are in control. If you falter in public, no matter how small the misstep, they sense blood in the water. Therefore, control perception as carefully as you control your armies. Hide uncertainty. Mask deliberation in confidence. Never allow the crowd to see you surprised, hesitant, or dismayed. Their confidence in you is the foundation of your power. Their doubt is the crack that grows until the walls collapse. It is not enough to act, you must act visibly, so that even your enemies see the futility of opposing you. When you strike, do so in a way that not only removes the immediate threat, but sends a message to all others. Let the punishment of one become the lesson for many. One public downfall can prevent a dozen private conspiracies. And yet you must avoid another trap, cruelty for its own sake. A ruler who lashes out indiscriminately creates as many enemies as he destroys. Severity must be tempered with calculation. Punish sparingly but decisively. Reward rarely but generously. Let fear and hope exist in balance. Too much fear breeds despair and rebellion. Too much hope breeds complacency and ambition. Only the wise blending of the two maintains control. Consider the knife. It is not a weapon of rage but of precision. The skilled hand does not strike wildly. It cuts only where it must. So too must you cut away threats before they take root, quietly if possible, publicly if necessary. The goal is not bloodshed but stability. A kingdom at peace may thank you for your justice, but a kingdom in flames will curse you for your weakness. Do not imagine that you can escape the burden of betrayal. Even the greatest rulers are betrayed often by those they favored most. The lesson is not to abandon trust entirely, but to understand its limits. Trust is never absolute. It is provisional, conditional, and subject to change. A wise ruler tests loyalty constantly, rewards it cautiously, and relies on it sparingly. And when betrayal comes, do not hesitate. Delay gives the traitor time to gather allies, to spread poison in the shadows, to prepare the dagger for your back. Swift action is the only antidote. To wait is to die. Strike first, and strike in such a way that no others dare follow his example. This is the essence of statecraft, to see the world not as you wish it to be, but as it is. To know that men are driven by self-interest more than ideals, by fear more than gratitude, by ambition more than loyalty. To know this, and still choose to rule, is to accept that you will be both feared and hated, respected and resented, envied and obeyed. There will be no applause for your sacrifices, no songs for your sleepless nights. The people do not love the one who carries the burden. They love the one who entertains them. You are not here to entertain. You are here to endure. In the end, you will be remembered, not for the kindness you showed to those who betrayed you, but for the strength with which you defended the state. History does not mourn rulers who fell because they hesitated. It mourns the chaos that followed their fall. So let them whisper your name with fear. Let them curse you across the river as the bridge burns behind them. Better to be feared and secure than loved and undone. Better to be alone on the throne than surrounded by traitors at your own funeral. Power does not forgive, and neither must you. Burn the bridge. Burn it so utterly that even the memory of passage is erased. In the ashes you will find clarity, and in clarity, survival. You are not a man anymore. You are a state. You are an idea. You are the fire that keeps the darkness at bay. And when the embers cool and the air grows still, you will find yourself standing alone, as all rulers must. There is no applause, no embrace, no absolution. Power isolates by its very nature. You thought the throne would elevate you above the common fray, but it has only sharpened your vision to see the endless tide of hunger that surrounds you, hunger in others, and hunger in yourself. There is no redemption for the one who has chosen command over peace. You cannot step down without inviting vultures to feast on what remains. You cannot return to what you were before, for the man you were is long dead, buried beneath the choices you made. You are not free to rest. You are free only so long as your power is secure. Forgive cautiously, rest strategically, and never falter in the eyes of those who would test you. To rule is to accept the weight of solitude as the price for order, to know that you have sacrificed love for obedience, friendship for vigilance, mercy for stability. You have traded the warmth of belonging for the cold clarity of survival, and still you walk forward because there is no other path. You cannot save them all, you cannot please them all, you cannot trust them all, but you can endure, and if you endure, the state endures. Let them call you monster, tyrant, usurper. The words are ash. History does not weep for the prince who was kind. It remembers the prince who was strong enough to hold the center while the world pulled at the edges. One day they will speak of you in whispers, some in fear, some in reverence, some in hatred. It does not matter. You did not come to be loved. You came to hold back the chaos that always waits at the door. You came to build something that could outlast your own life. And in the end, that is all power is. The courage to choose, necessity over comfort, action over hesitation, survival over sentiment. You burned the bridge, and they never came back. But neither did you.